Welcome back. Wow, you guys. I say welcome back because other than a quick little random video I put out last week, this is my first time sitting down and filming for you since I was 39 weeks pregnant. And that feels like an eternity ago. Today, actually, the baby has turned 2 months old. So I've definitely had a lot going on, and I've really missed being able to sit down and produce content for you, but I know that my time is much better spent with my family during these weeks. But today I have a fun and exciting video because we are going to be harvesting the berries from this beautiful Carlablackiae by BVEP. Let me hold it up a little bit closer so that you can see this stunning emergent leaf. I've talked about this plant quite a lot on my channel. It's one of my top 10 favorite anthurium, and ever since I've had it, there's always been a high demand for this plant. A lot of people will ask me for a cutting or an offset, and I've never ever been able to generate clones of this plant fast enough to meet the demand. Well, about a year and a half ago, I think, I decided to separate my main plant into 2 separate pieces. I made a top cut, and over time that top cut rooted fully and established itself as a separate plant. The bottom cut also activated a growth point and became established. Both pieces were flowering, and I was hoping to be able to attempt a self-pollination. Now I know that having a self-seedling is not the same as having a clone, and I'm definitely not advertising that the seedlings I'll get from this pollination will be as good as this, because honestly, I don't know if you can get as good as this. This is beautiful. But I know that being able to offer seedlings created by a self-pollination will give me the opportunity to have so many available. And so that's what I was really most excited about for this project. I want to say that I tried 3 times to self-pollinate this Carla BVEP. The plant itself, I've noticed, has had low pollen and low stigmatic fluid levels when it is flowering. And so the first 2 times I attempted, it could have been me just kind of misjudging the timing of everything, and both of those first attempts were failures. But the 3rd attempt, you guys, you know the adage, 3rd time is the charm, I guess. Look at this. I'll turn it around so that you can see this beautiful, delectable fruit. Let me hold it up closer, in fact. I hope it's focused on the fruit itself. It is this beautiful, like black, chocolatey, purpley color. It's very ripe. I don't see any berries kind of protruding past what you see here. Sometimes when an infructescence is ripe, the berries will pop out. I've been keeping my eye on this fruit for about a week, and it has not changed from this state. The berries have not pushed out any farther than they are right here today. And so I figured that this is probably ripe enough, and I would love to harvest these berries on camera for you and just have a super casual and impromptu, I don't know, chit chat, updates, just since it's been so long. And so yeah, let me grab my shears just to remove the flower from the plant. Let's get one last look at her. She's really beautiful. Unfortunately, there's some slight pest damage on some of the leaves and, you know, crispiness and yellowing as is expected. But overall, you really can't beat this plant. I think she's a beautiful representation of both parents. And I'm just, I don't know, not disbelief, but I'm just so excited. I'm just so excited that today's the day. And it's time to harvest some berries. So the first thing I want to talk about is the greenhouse, which you see me sitting in. Take another look at this now that I've removed it. The greenhouse is not done. It's not done yet. That is why you don't have a greenhouse video yet. I promise I'm not gatekeeping anything. I promise I'm not trying to build undue suspense. It's just really not done. There are several finishing touches that have yet to be completed, and I just, you know, I'm not gonna put out a video of an incomplete project. It's done enough so that the plants can be in here, which they have been for 2 months. If I remember correctly, it was the weekend or the week that I had the baby, and I was back home. We moved everything into the greenhouse. So the plants have been in here for about 2 months, and the greenhouse has been, it's been so wonderful. As you know, for what feels like most of this year, 2025, I've neglected the plants a lot due to them just like not having a proper space of their own. This greenhouse build has really taken forever. I've been working on editing the greenhouse video, so it's fresh on my mind, the dates, but like I think I ordered all of the greenhouse pieces in April or May. So it feels like May was forever ago, and it's just really nice to finally have this space for the plants. It's dedicated for the plants. I do have 3 children now, and I've got cats, and I really like my house. I enjoy being a homemaker. I take pride in the way my home looks. And so like, it's nice that the plants are not inside anymore. They are not taking up my screened-in porch anymore. The kids have been able to play outside so much now that the plants are not on the porch. And I think that them having their own dedicated space out here, I've been a lot better at their care and at their upkeep. You know, we're still troubleshooting things like temperatures and humidity, but I would say overall, the plants seem to be really liking it in here. I've gotten like lots of new leaves. I've gotten lots of flowers. And so, yes, I am sitting in a greenhouse today, but it's not quite finished, and I'm really eager for it to be done soon. I'm thinking, and I don't want to make any promises I can't deliver, but I really think that those final finishing touches I referenced will be done by the end of next week. And like I said, I've been editing the video as we go along, so I just have to piece those final clips together once we do those final steps. And then I really do think you'll have a greenhouse video before the end of the year. You know, obviously I can't prioritize it, but it's on the back burner of my mind, and I haven't forgotten about it. And more than anything, I'm really excited to share it. So all I'm doing here regarding these berries, I'm not talking you through the harvesting process, honestly, because if you're on my channel, you've probably familiarized yourself with anthurium, with their care, with their pollination. You probably know how to harvest berries. So I'm not, you know, taking this as an opportunity to educate, but I am just so that it is said, all I'm doing is I'm gently removing the berries from the fruit. Good to do this carefully because you can damage the berries as you're pulling them out. So the next thing that somebody had asked me about was tips for caring for Carlablackiae. I was very flattered to receive the compliment that my Carlablackiae was, I don't know the word that was used. It was a huge compliment. I felt very honored, but honestly, is it in the frame? It's in the frame here. This is it. Newest leaf kind of behind it. I don't think I can give Carla care tips. I'm honestly not confident in my skills there. I don't think my Carla looks the greatest. I mean, I'm proud of the plant that I have. I think she's beautiful. I definitely know I've got a lot to learn about her care. The issue I'm facing with my particular plant, my Carlablackiae, is that she's growing fine. She's got healthy roots. She's, you know, giving me a new leaf she's slow, but she has never had trouble giving me a new leaf. She's never had trouble flowering. The issue that I'm having with my Carlablackiae is that while the emergent is still soft, so it's still expanding, it's nearly full size, it's still a little bit soft, the edges will start to like wilt. Almost like when you buy, I don't know, some herbs from the store, like maybe you get a bunch of cilantro from the grocery store, and after a while in your fridge, that cilantro just goes really, really limp. That's almost how I would describe the edges of the leaves as they're emerging, as they're hardening off. It's not quite that simple though. They also get like a little brownish around the edges in the areas that seem to be kind of withering. And so unfortunately, I don't have an immaculate looking plant, although she's got great traits and it's a beautiful plant. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, because new leaves don't even harden off perfect. They are already like damaged and mangled by the time they harden off. So I'm really not sure what's going on there, and I'm not sure what my issue is per se. But for basic anthurium care, because I do give all of my anthurium the exact same care, I feed everything well. I use the General Hydroponics 3-part Flora series, I think. I do have it linked in the description of this video. I actually link all of my plant products. All of my plant products are in the description of all my videos. I've signed up to like be a partner on Amazon or whatever, just to see if I would have any success. I don't think I've had any purchases made by using my links, but they are down there if you want. I'm supposed to disclose that I might earn a commission if you were to purchase something off of Amazon using my associate's link. So yeah, that's the feed that I use, and I also add to it CalMag and Diamond Nectar. It seems to work really well as far as keeping all of my plants fed, honestly. I'm sure there's something else I could be doing as far as feed, but you know, as far as I can tell, if my plants as a whole, because they all get the same care, philodendron, monstera, anthurium, I treat them all the same. I'm a very lazy grower. If they're growing, if they're giving me new leaves, if they are sizing up, and especially anthurium, if they are flowering, I kind of feel like they're fed well enough, you know what I mean? And so I'm pretty happy with my feed routine. Now recently, and I mean like beginning of this year, beginning of 2025, I decided to finally devote the attention to balancing like the pH of the water that I was using. So I do balance pH as well. What's the other thing I started doing? I've started using Prime tap water conditioner, and that is supposed to, I don't know how, but neutralize harsh chemicals in the tap water. One thing I do know about anthurium is, despite the fact I've had relative ease growing them, they're still a finicky genus. And I think more than anything, they're finicky about their waterings. Like if they're not given perfect water, I think that's where you see issues in like leaf crisping or like ugly spots. I'm not really certain, but I've just decided, within reason, whatever I can do to make the water, you know, I try to make the water as good as I can. So I've gotten all the berries out of the fruit, and now it is time to start popping them. Other than feeding and watering, all of my anthurium grow in a random, unmeasured mixture of perlite and sphagnum moss. And I don't know, I water when the moss gets kind of dry, I guess. I'm a pretty heavy waterer, but usually when I see that the top of the moss is dry, that's when I go in and I water again. And I give my plants enough water so that I can see it starting to like rise in the bottom of the container that they're growing in. Yeah, that's probably too much water, but not everybody hates it. I think it works well for the most part for the majority of my collection. And like I said, since I am kind of a lazier grower, or just because I don't really have the time, I've got to have to treat everything the same. There's definitely a few anthurium that I can tell suffer from having their roots wet for that long, but I guess it hasn't bothered me enough to change my watering habits because that seems to work for most everything else. So heavy watering when the moss gets dry. None of my plants grow in pots with drainage. So whatever water I give them, they are gonna sit in that water until they absorb all of the liquid. Now, I do think that that's going to, so far since they've been growing in the greenhouse, they've been drying out really fast, which although it's a little annoying because I've had to water a lot more often, I do think that that's really good for them because they are not sitting in the water for that long. And then lighting for anthurium, let me think. When they were growing indoors on these shelves and I still had lights hooked up to the shelves, I want to say we were averaging between 250 to 300 foot candles. I do have a measuring tool that I used once or twice. Here in the greenhouse, they do get direct sun at some parts of the day, but I think they're okay with it. I know that generally anthurium should not go above about 400 foot candles. So if you're not sure what that number is or how you can measure it, again, linked in the description should be. Let me know in the comments if I haven't put it in yet. But my meter that I bought to measure the light was like 25 bucks. And it's really practical to know how much light your plants are getting. And then you can match that up to like what the recommended amount of light is and make adjustments as necessary. And then it goes without being said, but if you're growing anthurium, give them the highest possible humidity you can. Like they will enjoy 90% if you can give them 90%. You guys, it's so hard. Like I agree that it is difficult to give care tips or plant advice to others because like everybody's situation is different. Their growing habits are different. Is there something on this seed? Everybody, you know, cares for them differently. Humidity, I do try to keep high. I really do. But it's been hard and we are kind of adjusting. And a lot of nights over the past couple of weeks, it's gotten down to like 30% here in the greenhouse. This was before I like got the humidifiers out of the garage and I was like, it'll be fine. And I mean, they are fine. They're okay. The humidity here, just in my conditions, kind of spikes at one point in the day and then it drops at a different point in the day. So they were getting 60% for part of their, 24-hour day, and it was only getting to 30% for the other part. So I'm not saying that they were living in 30% 100% of the time, but even with humidity on the lower end, I still have a ripened fruit. I'm still getting new leaves. So I think everything take with a grain of salt. You want to keep the humidity high, but if you can't, you might be surprised. Your collection might do okay. Your anthurium might do okay. So, I mean, I don't know if I have anything else to say as far as anthurium care tips. I mean, just the most generalized advice, but that's pretty much what I can answer for you off the top of my head. And I hope it helps. So I have had a few of you ask, how is the baby? How am I doing? And I know that my content primarily focuses on plants, but I absolutely don't have a problem talking about motherhood, talking about my kids, talking about myself in that realm. If that kind of conversation doesn't interest you and you want to skip ahead, that's perfectly fine. I don't mind at all, but I am 100% in love with being a mother. I think it is the highest calling a woman could answer, and I feel very blessed by God, very privileged to be given 3 children, and so I think I will indulge you a little bit, talk about the baby, talk about myself. He's doing really good. Out of my 3 kids, I I can't say that he's the easiest. I think that my daughter, who's my middle child, I think that she was my easiest one. But I also concur that I might not remember everything that well. The details do get so foggy. And if you've got, you know, multiple children, or even if you've only had one child and it was like a while ago, you know what I mean? It's hard to remember specifics. How long were they sleeping at night? Oh, my first kid? I don't really remember, you know, that kind of thing. So as far as I can remember, I think my daughter, my middle child, was the easiest. But this little boy, my newest, he is a very good baby. He's a very easy baby. He has been eating well from the beginning. He is breastfed. He's been sleeping well too. Like, I will say he is certainly the earliest to sleep through the night out of my kids. He's only 2 months old, but he does like 10 to 12 hour stretches every night. I'm very blessed, very thankful to the Lord for giving me that, because sleep deprivation is really hard. It is, you know, probably, if I were to sit down and really think about it, I might even say that sleep deprivation is ultimately the source of most of your problems when you have a baby. Like, the baby's not really that bad. Your spouse isn't really that bad. Your other kids aren't really that bad. But because you're sleep deprived, everything else feels like it's horrible. So I'm very thankful to have been spared the sleep deprivation this time around. Yeah, he was sleeping through the night for the most part around 2 weeks old, if I remember correctly. So he's outstanding. My other 2 children are doing really well. They love him. And my daughter especially is obsessed with him. She smothers him all the time. I struggle with my patience as a mom because she's always trying to like put her hands on him or like touch him. She's 2, about to be 3. So my kids' ages, my firstborn is a boy and he will be 5 in the new year. And my daughter, she will be 3 in the new year. They are like 2 years apart with a difference of about 2 days. So his birthday is on the 18th and her birthday is on the 15th. So they'll both have birthdays. They'll be 5 and 3, and then, you know, my youngest. So the 2-year-old, my daughter, she is obsessed with the baby. She wants to be a really big help. And she, more often than not, gives me, you know, more work to do when she wants to be helpful. But I enjoy how much she loves her brother and how she demonstrates that to him. My oldest loves him too, but as a boy, he is, you know, less obsessed with babies. He spends his time drawing and coloring and playing with his cars, but he really loves his brother as well. I've been doing really good. I have to say, this 3rd time around, it's crazy that, how do I put this? I can see how I have grown as a person since I had my first child. If I don't know if I really want to recommend this, but if you're feeling froggy, if you go way back on my channel, before I really started doing plant content, I wasn't really doing much content of anything. It was random stuff here and there, but I did put out a video on my firstborn's first birthday, where I was sitting down and reflecting back on, you know, the things I wish somebody had told me as a first-time mom, something like that. I don't really know. I don't really remember what I said, but I'm sure I alluded a lot to having postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety after I had my first. And it is a mercy of the Lord that even though I have felt the influence of those same types of hormonal changes, I've definitely felt some postpartum anxiety this time, some postpartum depression this time. It's almost like I'm able to see myself back then. like something would happen, or, you know, sometimes depression is not caused by something happening. Sometimes you're just feeling that way. But I would remember back to how hard it was for me as a first-time mom. And just to be able to, I don't know, the blessing of experience, the blessing of being older than I was, it's really helped me this time. Like, how did I say it to somebody? Somebody was asking how I was doing, and I said, I feel the same way I felt, but I have control over it this time around. Like, I'm still, oh my goodness, I'm still tossed about. I have no control over how I feel sometimes. Hormones are, you know, all over the place trying to rebalance themselves. I still feel very at the mercy of all of those hormone fluctuations, just like I did back then. But the difference is that this time around, I feel, at least I know what's happening. I know what's happening now. I know what's causing this. And so instead of being worried that I was going clinically insane and that somebody was going to take my baby away from me, now I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember now. It's just postpartum. So that's been great. It really has. Just being able to see how I have grown and see how things are different. It's been really encouraging, and it's definitely just by the grace of God, but I feel like I'm doing really good. I mean, look at me. I'm sitting in a greenhouse making a YouTube video, even though I have 2 toddlers and a newborn. And I think that God has just been very good to me. Scheduling has been huge for me. Scheduling has been huge. Everybody needs a schedule. I need a schedule. The kids need a schedule. The baby needs a schedule. Not everybody chooses to raise their kids that way. Not everybody likes to live that way, and that's totally fine, like, honestly. But for me, I absolutely need a schedule, and so do my kids. And so pretty much, let me think, my husband John, he did have like 2 weeks of paternity leave. So those first 2 weeks we won't talk about. The first week I was home alone with 3 kids. It was really hard. My oldest, even though he's not 5 yet, we have started him in kindergarten because I'm homeschooling. And so we have that advantage that I felt he was ready. I gave him like an assessment, something I found online, like a kindergarten readiness test or something. And he did so good. And I was like, okay, you're ready to start homeschooling. So my oldest has been doing kindergarten with me every day. And so the first week, me alone with 3 kids, one of them a newborn, the other one is 2, which that doesn't really need any further explanation. And then one of them, you know, needs me to be a teacher. It was really hard. I just felt like, okay, this is exactly what I expected. 3 kids is crazy. But thankfully, I was able to get, you know, my footing under me a little bit and make adjustments. That's the great thing about a schedule. You're not tied to it. You're not like tied down. I was able to make adjustments to the schedule, kind of change the time that we did school with the oldest, and adapt my 2-year-old's nap schedules. And it's made it a lot better. And I have to say, now that the baby is 8 weeks old, it feels so natural. Things feel really good. I feel like I'm definitely able to do the things that I want to do during the day, aside from doing the things that I have to do. You know, like as the stay-at-home mom, as the wife, I'm still doing the cooking and the cleaning, the shopping. I love that kind of stuff though. I'm very traditionalist in that way. I love gender roles. I am not a feminist at all. I love being taken care of, and I love taking care of a family. So I'm able to do all of that, but still get to do, you know, kind of like the fun stuff, the hobbies, the plants, read a book, watch TV. So it's really nothing that I have done. It's God and His grace. But I do feel really good. I feel like we've transitioned well. I feel like I've adapted to the new set of challenges well. And all around, I feel very blessed and very thankful. It's November. You know, so I'm thinking about like Thanksgiving, and hopefully hopefully you try to find gratitude more than just once a year. But you know, to think back over the things that I prayed for as a young girl, as an adolescent, like I prayed for a good husband, I prayed for a family, I prayed for children, I wanted to be a mom. And to just sit here and let it hit me that I think I have everything that I prayed for as a child. I mean, things are different, you know, it's not exactly how I thought it would look in some regards, but I just feel so blessed by the Lord, so blessed by God. And so, yeah, I guess to answer that question, I'm doing really well and the baby's doing really well. All right, I dumped the seeds into the lid of this container that I plan to plant them in, and gave them like a little rinse. Now I'm gonna dry them off. I find that kind of buffing them with a paper towel really helps to remove the rest of like any of that gooey, goopy seed berry stuff. So just drain that water, and I'm gonna put them here on the paper towel. Okay, yes, answering your questions about the King of Spades video, I talked it up a lot before I went on maternity leave, so to speak, and honestly guys, no update. I want to, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I want to do a video showing like different types and different presentations of what Anthurium King of Spades can look like. I've done a video just like it on Bessier AFF and on Clarinervium. And I really want to do one on King of Spades because that's definitely one of my favorite Anthurium. And I have a couple. The thing is, some of the King of Spades I bought via import. And I told you guys I was just waiting for those plants to like bounce back so that I could include them in my King of Spades video. And they still not bounced back yet. I can grab, actually, now that I think of it, this is one of the ones I imported as like a super cutie round King of Spades. And the other leaf it came with definitely had some kind of chemical damage, but it is working on a new leaf in my care. So I don't know, I may just proceed with making the video next. You know, whatever video I make next, I don't know what it's gonna be and I don't know when it's gonna be, but I might just go ahead and tell me what you think. That's what we'll do. I will ask for your preference in the comments. Do you want to see my King of Spades, like primarily? And then the secondary objective of the video would be to talk about all the different cool ones? Or would you like it the other way around, where the primary objective of the video was talking about all the kind of cool King of Spades, and then at the end I was like, well, here's mine. Because if we did it that way, the latter option, I probably could make the video soon because I wouldn't feel like I had to wait on my other import to rebound. No, two others. There's two other imports waiting to rebound. The one that I bought as butterfly, if you're curious about that one, guys, it is the struggle bus. That plant, still working on that one. It's not dead. It just gave me a new leaf, but it's really gone down in size, just because it's, you know, I think it lost like the main growth point, activated a second one. I don't know, but it's still really small. So it's just not ready yet. But if you're fine, if you don't care, or if like you'd be happy with just seeing pictures of King of Spades, pictures of what I bought, even if I...
And my phone died while I was finishing my train of thought. But basically, please let me know if you would like to see that King of Spades video now, or if you would like to wait until my imports have rehabbed. Now I'm just going to sow the seeds onto a moist bed of sphagnum moss. And I decided to make this a time lapse because I just cannot talk and count at the same time.
All right, just finishing up here before the sun goes all the way down. 77, and that's my baby's birth weight. He was 7 pounds 7 ounces, so I will not forget the number. 7'7". Thank you for watching and coming to this little spontaneously random and unscripted chat. I've enjoyed being able to sit down here and talk to you all and harvest this very exciting seed batch. I do think I'll be bringing this inside with me, placing them in my Ikea cabinet, because although we do have heat and air in the greenhouse, I just would hate for something to malfunction and freeze these guys out while they're still so fragile. So thank you again for watching. I hope to see you again soon. No promises, but I know you understand. I hope that you're enjoying your plants today. I hope that you're enjoying your life today. I hope and pray that you are feeling as blessed and grateful as I am. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.